Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Munson Steed. We have a wonderful holiday, and we're excited the fact that so many have elected to celebrate. I am joined by my co-host, Terry Shropshire. Hey, Terry, how are you?
What's going on? Happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth. It's the time to go. Everybody's free, don't you know?
Yeah, that's right.
Do not be confused. This is not the moment to be confused. You like that t-shirt?
Yeah.
Did you get one of these? Did you
No,
ever get one of those? You got one too?
I mean, I got something else that has, messaging on it. So, yeah. But that's a nice T-shirt.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I had a great day. I was out in the community. I was marching, mask on. I really had a great time doing a Juneteenth thing. Then I talked to, you had a phenomenal lady from Miami, casting lady, so I enjoyed that. That was special. Think she's going to cast me, Terry?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, right away. Yeah, she recognizes skills right away. So yeah, she'll get you.
Yeah,
she got you.
I didn't see anything in my DM. I didn't see anything anywhere. News hour.
I'll get her.
Rolling out news hour. What do we say, Terry? How does it begin? Have they had the Tulsa event yet?
No. Trump decided to delay it last week, so he's going to have it tomorrow night. Medical practitioners are saying that there's a 140% chance of increase if they have the rally. The White House is downplaying it, saying that there's nothing to worry about, that the danger or the chances of being infected are minuscule. So once again, we have mixed messaging coming out, contradictory messages coming out. And so we'll just have to see how it turns out 7 to 14 days after the rally. Oklahoma is already on an upward trajectory in terms of the number of coronavirus cases and deaths, along with 19 other states. So holding it on this particular date doesn't seem to be pragmatic or wise, but they're going to go ahead and do it because the numbers for the approval ratings are down significantly in terms of the approval rating and how the economy is doing and how the coronavirus has been handled. So this is just basically a desperate attempt to inject some energy and to reinvigorate the campaign, reinvigorate the presidency that is in trouble, quite frankly.
Some say he's trying to sabotage himself. He's tired.
I don't know. I don't know if he said that or anybody else said that. I didn't hear that. I mean, he's too much. No, he's got too much pride. Some would say he's a narcissist or egomaniac, but I can't see that he'd be trying to sabotage himself because he desperately wants to win. He wants to be seen. He wants to go down in history as an all-time great president. And so I can't see him. This is definitely an attempt to imbue some energy into a deflating presidency, fastly deflating presidency. And this is an attempt to sanitize some of the ills that he has wrought on the country, in terms of whether it's his words or legislation or just a lack of governing. So no, I don't see this as self-sabotage.
We have been joined. Everybody, the famous editor-at-large, future president of Rolling Out. It is Terry. Who is that over there? Dr. Rashad Ritchie. What's going on, Rashad?
Man, how y'all fellas doing, man? Good to be with you.
Yeah, no, we were just
Dr. Yeah.
go ahead, T.
No,
Anyhow,
sorry.
I don't know what I'm
No, Dr. Ritchie. Okay, I just wanted to find out from you what the temperature in the country is in terms of what's going on. What do you make of it? But we might want to state with the national story that's right here in Atlanta, because the situation seems to have been exacerbated in the past week. Some members of the Atlanta Police Department refused to go to work. So as thousands, tens of thousands take to the streets to celebrate Juneteenth, there's very little police presence, and some say that is deliberate. So and it's seeming to have taken a turn for the worse. Also, as a side note, we have a mayor in Keisha Lance Bottoms who is strongly have been considered for the vice presidency, and wanted to know how that, that's something that's not as important as what's going on, but that still is important because, it could be for the next 4 to 8 years, she could be the vice president. So it kind of, everything is playing out right now here in the city of Atlanta, which has gone national in terms of what's going on. So I want you to take the temperature of the city of Atlanta, first of all. And happy Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth, gentlemen. So let's start with the city of Atlanta. I was privileged to be asked by Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms to join her use of force task force. And so when she reached out to me and said, your job would be reviewing police tactics and making recommendations on how to de-escalate, take away aggression, make sure that policies were reflective of the community sentiment, I didn't just say yes, I said hell yes, because we understand that there's a culture of policing that must be addressed. And from that culture, you can start dealing with more systemic issues that permeate from it. But let's talk about what has happened in Atlanta. Naturally, the onslaught of video evidence in the middle of a civil protest is only an expression of the culture that exists not only in cities that are considered progressive like Atlanta, but cities all across the United States of America. Remember, the politics of a city, regardless of conservative or liberalism, the politics of that city has not seemed to change the culture of policing in that city. That's how strong this culture has been. So let's go to the kids who were ripped out of the vehicle, the college students from Morehouse and Spelman. Those officers were arrested because the district attorney took what's called an extraordinary step. He did not seek an indictment. He decided to go to a superior court judge and get a warrant, which is allowable under the law. The reason why he did not go through the process of getting an indictment is because there's a rule that says officers, you or me can't do this, but officers get to go before a grand jury, give a narrative without the benefit of rebuttal. They can just tell their story unchecked. Nobody can cross-examine them, which makes it very difficult to indict police officers. So he decided to go this extraordinary step, which he's done this before. Then you had the murder of Rayshard Brooks. And let's be very clear. Rayshard Brooks deserved to meet a judge. He did not deserve to meet his maker. He resisted arrest, unwise. He was running away, and the officer decided to utilize lethal force. Well, was the force necessary? Now let's analyze what this really means. Police officers are not really protected by law. They're protected by Supreme Court case law. And the major ruling was in 1985 that basically gave cops the supernatural, extraordinary powers to kill people, okay, without significant repercussion if they could prove basically that reasonably they felt there was an immediate threat, regardless if the threat turned out to be legitimate or not, all right? And keep in mind, those are just people interpreting stuff. So while we keep hanging our hat on the morality of the law, that could have went the other way because it was not a unanimous decision. So you get another Supreme Court in there, you get 1985 overturned anyway, okay? So he's running away. There's an actual SOP, a standing order in the city of Atlanta that says, bottom line, you cannot shoot anyone running away. That's in the city of Atlanta. Now, that code is not everywhere, but it is in Atlanta. As a matter of fact, that's one of the charges that the district attorney used in order to secure the arrest warrant, because the city of Atlanta has that as part of their standing order. Okay. The weapon or the device, the taser, has now become the center of attention because he had it in his hand. Well, let's talk about what this is. This is a non-lethal device. This is a completely non-lethal device. It's so non-lethal that literally, in order for you to be taser certified, you must be tased by another cop. That's how you get taser certified. So how is that lethal when in order to carry a taser, you must be tased yourself? In addition to that, the Supreme Court has upheld that it is a non-lethal device. The police statute said it is a non-lethal device, and the manufacturer says it is a non-lethal device. So how all of a sudden it has become a lethal device in the hands of a drunk man running away, trying to flee an arrest? They already had his license, they had his car, they had his address. Where in the hell was he going? He was going nowhere. They could have set a perimeter easily, found this guy. Everybody was living. He should have been trying to scrape up bail money that night and not dead. Not dead. And that is our challenge. The culture of policing has to transform in a way that says we are going to hold true to the sanctity of life more so than the sanctity of the arrest or the stop or the use of force. And I've seen it happen. You go to YouTube right now and you check out white men who have fought cops, and they just fought them back. And they live. There's one video right now of a white guy giving a white male and white female deputy sheriff the business. He not only beat them up, he took the baton, he took their keys, he took their sheriff's SUV, and the entire time they're saying, stop doing this. We don't want to hurt you. Stop. You're just making it worse for yourself. Nobody pulled a gun on them. Nobody pulled out a can of mace. Nobody even pulled out a taser. They let the man steal the damn car, and they got him later. He met a judge. He did not meet his maker. Now, for these cops who are calling out, I got something to say about these cops, if y'all don't mind.
No, go ahead.
Okay. They call it the blue flu. All right. They fake an illness as a way to protest. And it's really interesting that many of these guys who are protesting do not respect the protest of Colin Kaepernick, but that's a different conversation. So literally, they are making the community unsafe, right? They are making the community unsafe. And then you have some who decided to show up for work and not respond to 911 calls, making the community even more unsafe. Not only are they cowards, they are part of the problem and the culture that has to transform with policing. When you are hired as a cop, you are literally hired as a public servant. That's as silly as a politician saying, I'm no longer going to vote or show up for work because I don't like what you did to my fellow politicians. That's insane. You're still there to protect and serve. You're a public servant.
Yeah, now let me ask you, because if you recall the mass shooting in at the high school in South Florida, and the officer was actually brought up on charges for not entering and engaging the mass shooter.
Yeah, he ran away
because it was gross neglect of duty. You know, not that we would want that to happen in Atlanta, because the situation is already explosive here in Atlanta. But something like that, you are trusted to serve the community, but you don't do so while you're out. Could something like that be applied here? Do you know?
Yeah, it could be. So let's go back to the rules. There's an administrative protocol that says you do have to respond to 911 calls. There's a protocol in place. If you don't do so, it's an administration or administrative violation. You can be fired. Your commanding officer is supposed to try to find out why you did not respond, and then they can write you up from there. One of my recommendations to Mayor Bottoms is, in order to enforce a new culture of policing, you must hold cops who do nothing accountable. And I'm not just talking about having them written up. If an officer sees another cop brutalize a citizen, kill a citizen, and they sit back and do nothing, There are some existing laws that they can be charged with. Number one, failure to render due. Number two, criminal negligence. Number three, oath of office. Those are three charges that you can charge a cop with under the current Georgia statute. We can create additional statutes in the city, but those three are strong enough to start with. You just have to enforce it. And you have to let your agency know that we are now going to start enforcing these rules because these rules are laws. And all of these laws are applicable to everybody who's a citizen, including cops.
See, um, wow. And then on top of all of that, Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms had become a national star. She was a rising star within the Democratic Party, and she was and is, until we're told differently, under serious consideration of being vetted for the vice president as vice president for that ticket with Joe Biden, who is the presumptive Democratic nominee. How does this impact her? Because after the first, after the first sign of insurrection in downtown Atlanta, where they burnt, and she came on and she pleaded with the public and implored the public to go home. She was considered a star. How does it? Where's it standing now? Because it seems like the situation has changed in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, she's definitely on the short list. I don't think she's on the short end of the short list, but she's on the short list for sure. And this situation has given her what we call an organic spotlight. Okay. This is happening because of what's happening in the world, and then by extension, what happened in the city of Atlanta. The politics are at play. She is showing herself to be very decisive by firing these cops, putting them on administrative leave, getting the resignation of her chief of police to move in fresh individuals to leadership positions. But we have to be very careful during this time because the mayor and others can get caught up in the national political conversation. And the national political conversation may not always be congruent with the local political conversation. And you're still seeing a significant disconnect between progressive national politics and what the executives and establishment, what they're saying, and what the protesters are saying on the ground. While firing cops that do things like this is a good start, it does not transform the culture of policing. The culture of policing literally will only transform when you get rid of the guys that think they can do it the way they want to do it, and you have an active recruitment campaign of new police officers who embrace your progressive methodology. And that is the real test. It's not in management, it's not only in having a protocol or a policy that says A, B, and C. It's literally attracting new and fresh blood to the talent pool and saying, this is who we are as a city. Apply if you want to, but just know what it is. And you will get people to apply.
See, Mr. Steve, did you have a question for Dr. Rashad?
I think Dr. Rashad's always on point. He's definitely, if he's not mayor, he'll be a significant judge or a huge attorney on someone's law firm on top of owning and running a media empire. But I think for me, Rashad, I think the disconnect between our community and real leadership, and even for liberals, it's really insulting for them to keep talking about a list that I think doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. I'm not certain, even with as much as we're doing kumbaya language on how transparent these corporations are going to be. Disney wrote off on Vice Media, and we got to talk about this a lot, $500 million. So what amount of money will they invest in Black owned, given they just wrote off $500 million? This is Disney.
Right.
At the same time, they give us two black females in Georgia, a state that's questionable whether it's going to flip, which I'm not certain it's going to flip at all. And we know the states that we really need to turn are not necessarily Georgia if we're trying to win. So that support could alienate our voters if they don't pick. So I think you set those expectations high. I'm not certain that that's the smartest thing that we've done, but I'd love to hear your opinion, because I think that white people in particular were really tired, mad, upset for 8 years of the truth, individuals that were intellectually unpenetratable, individuals that were not thirsty, and individuals that were good caretakers for the entire nation. And now they want us to believe that all of a sudden, after voting for this man, in particular, white women, who totally discounted, disrespected Hillary Clinton and went to the vote to prove it, went to the booth to prove it. And so they keep talking about us and black women are so powerful, when that ain't even a conversation you need to be having, except for fools. Don't put us on the ticket. Y'all know that that's not what you want. Now, y'all might take a chief of staff. You might even take a secretary of state. You might even do a whole bunch of ambassadorships. But the reflection that you really want to go across the country is not Stacey Abrams, and clearly our illustrious mayor. It's just hot air, because that's not, to me, the temperature of this nation when white women didn't vote for white women. But I'm just asking.
Yeah, you make a great point. So let's look back at the numbers that Trump got, right? Trump has never won the heart and soul of the country. He never got it. 3 million more people voted for his political opponent than voted for him. So he has never had the heart and soul of the nation. Okay. And he won't get it in this election. He won because of an antiquated system known as the Electoral College, which was created for slave era politics. And we decided to keep it around just in case we needed it in order to buffer the reality of a true democracy. That's because this country, Democrat or Republican, they never truly wanted a holistic democracy. So everybody was fine with it until Trump won. Okay. So now Trump is in office because he was the most disagreeable white man that real white people could find. And let me explain what that means. Obama was president 8 years, remarkable intellect, a significant game changer, one of the most consequential social influencers that you will find in the history of this country. He was about to pass the baton to a Hillary Clinton. Please understand what this means. To a white male-dominated social class, that means that for 16 years, if she would have won, potentially for 16 years, this country would have gone without a white male leader. And there were many who consciously and subconsciously, even white females, said they cannot be. And now you have the reality of a Donald Trump. Now, why did Donald Trump do what the Republican Party could not do? Because the Republican Party was still willing to be somewhat sensible about politics, where Trump was not. Trump was the only one still saying Obama was not born in America. Trump was the only one still saying he was Muslim. Trump was the only one still saying that he was the worst president in the history of presidents. He was the guy still saying it when Republicans during that 18-man and one-woman primary, when they were running, they were basically saying, hey, we need to move the country forward with ideas. Trump knew something. He knew that the base didn't give a damn about ideas. The only thing that base cared about, and here's how he got the drop on all of the Republicans. That base cared about the idea of dismantling the ideas of the guy who had been there for 8 years. And as long as he could talk about dismantling that guy's ideas, he knew he had the base and nobody could touch him. That's something that they didn't figure out until it was too late. Because if they would have figured it out, they would have campaigned on it too. They just didn't think the country was there. But they created the atmosphere that allowed for a Trump to be an expression of it. Please, Trump is not your problem.
Right.
It's just the expression of the problem that's already been here.
I've been saying that for years.
He's not your guy. He's just and I was explaining, I was on London TV last week, man, and they just have a really ironic way of looking at what's happening in America. They're basically saying, what in the hell is wrong with you all? How did this happen? How did Trump happen? And I had to remind them of the vote total and how things transpired, but I also had to remind them that Trump is not the problem. The problem was always here, and now you're seeing it directly after Trump. You still have to deal with the people that supported his ideology. And who are they? They are your school teachers. They are your judges. They are your police officers. They're the person that works with you right next to you at your 9 to 5. They are still here, even after he's gone. It's
The
an
NFL
ideology.
owners.
Right. It's an ideology, man. And that ideology was not created by Trump. He simply tapped into it like nobody else did.
So you're saying exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Those people have no interest in two black women from Atlanta or Georgia occupying the White House.
Well, not those people, but you do have a progressive bunch of different races. It's a coalition on the other side who are much more open to the idea of a Stacey Abrams or Keisha Lance Bottoms. But there are two theories I think the Biden campaign is dealing with. And I've worked in electoral politics for years, and you always have to have what's called a strategy to win. There are two strategies for Joe Biden, the way I see it. Number one, Joe Biden can believe that he's going to win all of the traditional Democratic states, which, by the way, Hillary Clinton did not. If he wins all of the traditional Democratic states that President Obama won, he only needs to carry the Midwest. He needs to carry a few states in the Midwest, and he seals up the electoral college vote. The second strategy is what we call the hyper turnout strategy, something that President Obama did. So President Obama was able to have a hyper turnout and win states that Democrats typically win. If Biden says my turnout is hyper, or my strategy is hyper turnout, he has to put someone who is progressive and exciting on the ticket. Now you have some people that are exciting or will excite the progressive base, will excite minority voters, and they're not necessarily significantly progressive, like Senator Harris. Senator Harris is not significantly progressive, but she has enough credibility in the space to excite voters on the left. And she has enough bona fide experience to make moderates more comfortable with supporting a Biden-Harris ticket. And you have that down the list. If Biden had to pick his vice presidential candidate today, one, he could never pick a white male. Okay,
No,
period.
no, he backs himself in the corner.
I wouldn't vote for him if he did that. If he just picked another white male, all of y'all can go to hell. We've been fighting for what? So the choice he would have to make today in the current climate is a female of color. He would have to today. Now, today won't be next week or the week after. Things can change, the climate can change. But if it was today, that's what he would have to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll just beg to disagree because even today,
you don't think so?
see. Well, no, because I think that the lens that they want to give, I think you gave a perfect example of why the lens on this country, as much as it changes, it changes in a way that will leave people feeling temporarily okay.
True.
So when we think about that, are we winning or losing by telling them that we want something that we know that y'all really don't want, but y'all are publicizing it to make us feel good? I'd rather you tell the truth. Let's get behind where we're going and begin to get transparency and back into appointing federal judges, back into really supporting governors, back into supporting our cities, getting dollars back, and giving our communities an opportunity to move forward in a way that has nothing to do with what the VP does, because that ain't no job that really you sit over the Congress.
Yeah, and it's not a really powerful job because you're basically relegated to whatever the president says you can and cannot do. And I've heard that Joe Biden is one of the most stubborn people in the world, which you can understand. He's a 70-plus-year-old white guy who is literally the most experienced person to ever run for president in the history of the presidency. So
No
that
kidding.
comes with a level of entitlement itself. We've never had somebody as experienced as him to run for president of the United States.
Well, but we also hate the fact that he has experience with black people. Like
Yeah,
I've never seen more people have experience. You know, everybody want to ask Charlemagne. We want to know what you gonna do, but what's our choice? What is our other choice? And my brother Charlemagne is dynamic. Should charge him, but I'd rather ask him, where is the bag? Where are you
yeah,
spending the money? I really don't want to talk about who are you going to hire Rashard Ritchie to manage the Southeast and give him the bag. We don't want to hear about these consultants. We don't want you to pick a black ad agency that nobody knows. It needs to be in a black city. We don't want anybody picking and consulting us. And we want you to do street money, you know, because y'all hate churches so bad, but y'all want them to vote for you, but you don't want to give them no money.
right.
So we want part of that 3 billion. We want all your Democratic PACs to advertise with black people, or you hate us. There's no, and we want to see where the bag is going. And Rashad needs to be in the room. So, you know, I'm not happy with when you have politicians that are not committed to us getting some of the billions that they're going to spend on this election. I just don't have any respect for anybody who talks about anything but the money when it comes to this election.
Yes, and just before you answer, Dr. Ritchie, that goes to my point of this hollow, empty, sophisticated rhetoric that's being regurgitated by the NFL, that's being regurgitated by these multinational corporations. All of a sudden, they're sorry. All of a sudden, Quaker, it only took them 100 years, Dr. Ritchie, for Quaker Oats to find out that Aunt Jemima had a racist past. That's quick. That's quick. You know what I'm saying? So, what do you make of all of this rhetoric that's coming out? It's like coming in waves, like a tidal wave of apologies. We're about to drown in apologies. We're being submerged. Right. What do you make of all this right now, sir?
Man, I love it. And I was telling my college students this the other day. Don't think that this is about black bodies. When corporations are spray painting Black Lives Matter on their doors and walls, they are doing that because green dollars matter. And this is now the current social trend. Here's what has literally happened. White females have now given all Americans permission to say Black Lives Matter. I've spoken at hundreds of Black Lives Matter rallies for years since the inception. And never have I seen so many white people embrace Black Lives Matter as an actual movement.
Absolutely.
Here's the irony. I've never seen so many black people do it either. So it's almost as if some black folk were waiting for America to socially trend toward the Black Lives Matter agenda before they came out and said Black Lives Matter.
Rashad, I think it goes to speak to your point, but the point I'm making is it's not an economic agenda. It's once again like saying, well, here's some more philanthropy. SCLC isn't what it used to be. There'll be the SCLC that we can adopt and talk about, but that's not going to increase the employment at Facebook. That's not going to increase the employment at Microsoft unless you put some economics on this. And it's not, we're going to give it to black businesses. Can you give us the list in a spreadsheet?
Right. I agree 100%. And that's why I don't think, this is just my worldview, having more jobs, it definitely helps families take care of bills week to week. So having a great jobs report is good. It's simply not great. You will not transform the dynamic of economic realities in America until there's a massive wealth transition. That massive wealth transition will not come unless there is a bona fide, holistic, and appropriate reparations package based on study, influence, and implementation. That's the only way you're going to get to a massive transfer of wealth. And here's why that wealth must be transferred, okay? we're now talking about the economy being destroyed. Like people are literally on TV saying the economy is being destroyed. The economy is not being destroyed. Before COVID 19, there was a certain amount of money on the planet. Right now, during COVID 19, that same amount of money is actually still on the planet. The issue is the fluidity of that money. Where is that money now going? How do we get access to that capital? The reason why equity is better than equality any day is because once you have equity, people will know that you're equal. Because in a capitalistic government, what rules the day is the capital that you bring to the table. So while we've been fighting for equality, equality only gives you mobility. That allows you to go to a store or ride where you want to ride on the bus or sleep wherever you want to sleep in a hotel. That gives you mobility. Mobility is a good thing. It's not a bad thing, but
No.
it doesn't give you equity. Equity is what they transferred away from you through free labor through the ancestors. And so now they get the equity transfer and they transfer back to you something called equality. Well, that's silly as hell. Because if I don't have equity, how can I ever have equality? And if you gave me equality, that means you feel like you can take it back. So these are concepts that we live with every day. The equity model is real simple. I had explained this to one of my white college students, and in all of my classes, I make all of my students, all of my white students, whoever, they have to cite black scholars in all of their work. And one of my white students challenged me and said, Dr. Ritchie, why do we have to cite black scholars if the research is credible, peer reviewed, and accepted? And I said, simple. I refuse to be the smartest Negro you know. And that is a knowledge transfer for them. Okay, that's an intellectual transfer. And we got into a discussion about reparations and why it was necessary for the wealth transfer. Equality is this. Equality is when you have a football game and everybody knows the rules. The referees are somewhat fair. There's an audience on both sides, and both teams are equally prepared to compete. And they say all you got to do is play hard, win the game, and that's it. That's all you got to do. And so you play hard. Final quarter, you win it. You win the game. And at the end of the game, right before the 1 second marker expires, you realize that the opposition team actually inherited 100 points before the game. You can't win in that game. That game is not winnable for you. The only way that game is winnable for you is if they transfer at least 50 of those points to you. They have 50 points to them, and now you have equity and you can fight in the game of equality. But you don't get to that point unless there's equity first.
Right. So that's why I know we're not getting a VP. Because they not bringing no equity to that party. You know, it's not going to be Atlanta will not have a $500 million fundraiser.
But you know what's going to happen? Even if Keisha Lance Bottoms does not get the VP pick, and I don't think she will, by the way.
I don't either.
Put my money on it. But even if she doesn't, she's going to be part of what we call the brain drain if a Democrat gets into office. Every time a Democrat is in office, they appoint a lot of people from Atlanta to serve in high positions, not only in the cabinet, but undersecretaries, deputy secretaries, and on federal benches. Okay. So you're going to still get a drain of talent leaving from Atlanta, which is a good thing because that means there's going to be an influx of new talent that can start running the city and providing leadership for the city.
No, I'm all for that. I just don't want them to think that we're going for these shenanigans and listening to this and giving us this liberal, and you're not really liberal. You still were there and voted against. You still got these rules, these DAs that you know about that you're really not writing about. So I'm not pro any of that. And Amy, I mean, it took her all this time to decide that she wanted to not be in consideration. She didn't know we had canceled her already. Like she didn't get the notice from you, Rashad.
You should have, because I
Jeff
definitely talked about it on air.
You can bring him into conversation, but she didn't know that she got canceled, Rashad.
Yeah, she did this to save face, man. She was already out once it was revealed that the officer who killed George Floyd was an officer that she refused to prosecute when she was a prosecutor in that same state. That would have been a bigger media story if she was ever chosen to be the vice president of Joe Biden. That sealed her fate, period. Her coming out now saying, I'm taking my name out of consideration. First of all, the list is secret. How the hell you take your name off a secret list publicly? Nobody knows the list for real. We're just speculating on who's on the short list. And all of a sudden, you're coming out taking your name off the list when there's no confirmation that a list actually exists and that you were on it. It was to save face. Make her look great, make her look noble.
Yeah, canceled.
Right.
She's been canceled already. What's going on, Trey?
How you guys doing today?
Come on, man. We got our brother and Dr. Rashad Ritchie. We're trying to make sure that our community is not going for this shenanigans and begins to focus on the economics of creating equity. Rashad and I are about 4 years away from the reality that African Americans can get reparations. We just figured out we could stand up. So, I mean, and it took millennials and a pandemic to figure out that we could actually stand up. I mean, we free. Okay. All right. Your pocket is empty. You free. That's good. Like you say, Rashad, they're going to get the money back. They're going to get the money back.
That concept is so interesting because I explained this also in lectures about critical race theory, that when we talk about equality, which I said equality only equated to mobility. It just gave you the option to move in different places. It didn't create any equity for you in the world. Some slaves got paid money. Some slaves got a little change here and there. They can go to the store, they can freely move. They can go to the store and shop for themselves. All right, this is in the literature. This is in the actual historical narrative. So when you compare that, you say, okay, wait a minute. So slaves worked and they were paid a little money. They had some mobility. They could shop for themselves. And they had a roof, they had food, and they were on this plantation. Horrible, right? They were owned by a person. Oh my God, it's horrible. And it is horrible. But if you're a Black person and you're working, you have mobility, you do a little shopping for yourself, and then the rest of your paycheck is paid on where you stay, what you eat, how you survive, and you have nothing left over, which is the reality of a lot of Black people in this country based on the capitalistic structure. How are you better and more positioned than the slave was? Everything that you're working for goes toward the same property. And now that you have more mobility, you think that we have arrived somewhere. And all we have done is been able to be more mobile than before. All right. And let's not get started on the violence. Hell, the slave patrol still killing Black men. So there's a comparison. These comparisons are still here. They haven't gone anywhere. We have simply contextualized it into a modern era, and we have been desensitized to it through mass media. And we think somehow that these things are just one-offs. Well, the truth is they are a continuation from the slave era social agenda in the first place. And that's what we're fighting today.
Real talk right there, brother.
Thank you, bro.
That is.
Well, welcome to Rolling Out News this evening. Mr. Trey Haley, why don't you introduce yourself and give us a temperature about what you see what's going on in the city of Atlanta and the rest of the country.
Yeah. You know what? Again, my name is Trey Haley, president of Tridestin Studios, and I'm actually in LA, but just looking at what I'm seeing is going on out in Atlanta, it definitely is, I see a lot of hope, and then I see a lot of things that are somewhat like secular. It's the same thing happening over and over again. But then, there are a lot of us who are, I think, coming alive here more. And I think right now, I think a lot of people are trying to figure it out. I think that's where we are right now. It's like, well, what do we do? You know what I mean? At this point, there seems to be a change happening, but what do you do with this change? How can we make it work? And so I think that's just where everybody is. I mean, we're vocalizing, things are changing here and there, but as a people, we definitely have to come together to figure out together how we can make a change as well together, so that these things don't continue on all levels, whether it's political, the entertainment, blah, 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 all of this kind of ultimately connects together. So I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of one side here, one side here. I feel like it's not, it's trying to get here.
Yes. Yeah, Mr. Steve.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying Mr. Steve.
Oh.
We do this,
Mhm.
Terry, and there seems to be an absence of KPIs in how we're looking at each agenda. I think we talk about Juneteenth, some may have realized that they could stand up even at their jobs. I think
Right.
Amy, which they're calling Central Park Karen, but Amy really kind of shared and shed a light. She shared a truth that we all knew. We couldn't have imagined, even in a time when our brother was brought on a train car back to Chicago, that his mother and the black Pullman would have brought his body out, and nobody really wanted to see him. Now that was at a time where there's no television. And then we all have for 8.46 seconds have to relive this, and we didn't want to see it. Now that's on top of the fact that there was a video, how would you call that, Terry? Private video massacre in Brunswick that really didn't resurface. It had happened. And it all kind of just began to creep out. When you think of the instance of a sister laying in her bed, it's like, Trey, just bad movies, a horror picture. Some people I share with them, I say, well, no, this wasn't just obviously a Floyd. This was kind of like watching a horror picture, like you're beginning to figure out who's next. Am I next? And who's next? Because they only one thing they got in common, and literally everyone was black. And then you start to think, well, Sandra Bland was happy in her car, and something happened to her. And the only thing that everybody had in common in this horror picture was they were black. And we don't make the movie, and we didn't write the script. So I think everybody began, well, this could kind of happen to me. And the other people in the movie, because see, in Minneapolis, they have shot a white person before and got away with it. So it's one of those things that we had seen a bad movie.
Yeah.
I think a horror picture. And everybody didn't want to be eaten alive by this racism that they saw. So they stood up for a little while. Now, how long they'll want to stand up, because I think the fear you see is that many of them understand that they also have to get out of our chairs. In order for us to sit at the table economically, some of you are going to have to get out of your chair.
Yeah.
And that makes a group of people who not only want to be privileged, but are sometimes insufficient, non-creative, just have privilege, are just sitting in economic chairs that they don't want to get out of.
Yeah.
So you're in Hollywood.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you because I read somewhere, and you can confirm this, that the Los Angeles mayor of the state of California wanted to go to making masks mandatory because of the uprise or the uptick in coronavirus cases. Is that true back out there?
Yeah, I mean, they keep going back and forth with this and trying to figure it out, but it's pretty interesting out here, man. Obviously, a large portion of the city is in the entertainment business, and so it puts a halt on a lot of things, and it increases what everybody has to do to even go back into doing this stuff again. So, you know, I mean, obviously you saw, like, I mean, one of the soap operas tried to go back in and work, and now they got shut back down because of COVID. Somebody got it, you know, as well. So they're trying to figure it out, man. And, you know, it's just one of these things. Every day we look, see what's going on. What's the next thing? What's the new thing? So, yeah.
Yeah, see. So out there in Los Angeles, you know, it's not quite as hot. It just seems to be a different week, a different city, a different part of the country. Because a couple of weeks ago, it was definitely LA was the hottest place on the planet. Now it's Atlanta. Before that, it was Minneapolis. Before everybody else, it was Minneapolis.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, you know what's going on out there in terms of you know, the optimism. You know, today is Juneteenth, of course, and happy Juneteenth. But in terms of the optimism, of what do you see? Can you detect the temperature of the city in terms of how they feel? In terms of, are they feeling optimistic about the future, or are they still just, you know, full of angst?
I think it's a lot of full of angst. I think the optimism is, what can we do collectively to create things here in this city to empower our people, to be able to tell the stories, to do the things that, like you said, to help change the narrative a little bit from as much as we can do as creators. You know, a lot of people, I mean, you know, LA, very, very liberal elements here. People are really, 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 you know, we see what's going on, and, you know, we just go. People go 110% to back it, you know, because a lot of people obviously are transplants from, it's similar to Atlanta. You know, a lot of people come from different places. A lot of people are from Atlanta. A lot of people are from these southern states, and they've obviously experienced a lot of these things as well. So, and California has an interesting, especially Los Angeles has an interesting thing with the LA Police Department and things like that, you know, histories and stuff like that in a different kind of way. But
no, not LA.
it always, you know, everybody's in 100%, 110% to be backing everyone. We don't want to be way over here on the West Coast and people feeling like we're not there. So we're all doing our different parts. Everybody does it in every different way. You know, some people it's doing it in the creative way. Some people, you know, whether it's marching or whatever, but I feel like what I am seeing is a lot of creators consciously deciding on the content that they were interested in putting out there, for sure.
So tell us about the content that you're putting out, because they say you got a little bit of content coming out.
Yes,
I'm a little upset that you didn't put me in the movie. Trey, I really need to be cast in every movie. If you love your brother,
okay.
Careful
what you ask for, brother.
You know, I need to be cast. I need to be cast in some speaking parts so I can get a swag card.
Okay.
I can help get the KPIs. People can actually understand my character. And, you know, ready for this space, Hollywood.
All right. Hey, man, you know, got a good look over there, bro. I mean, I'm gonna tell you something. Hey, Mr. Steve, don't worry about it. I'm gonna call you up on this now. I'm gonna call you up on this.
I'm there, but how are we going to have Hollywood be more transparent with its opportunities?
Yeah, you know, man, it really, what's funny is I've had more just general conversations with different people that I'm talking to from all different races, and it's a way, the consciousness is there now. And I think that people are really, what I am seeing the change is people are moving faster. And I kind of, when I was listening to some things that you were saying, nobody wants to be back. No, earlier on, y'all were talking about.
That was the artificial. There is a robot.
Okay.
The robot. This is AI. Oh, okay. Man, it takes over sometime. I mean, it's really not me. It's AI.
Okay.
You know, I had to push my arm to reset sometimes.
AI said something about people jumping in, and everybody now, they don't want to be on the bad end of history. And I think that is what it is. Now people are like, hey,
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I was going to talk about Oscar So White and that we've been on this campaign. I just saw a video of Richard Pryor from 40 years ago talking about pretty much Oscar So White back in the 70s. Mm-hmm. So it seemed like we'd be doing this, like you were saying, we're going over and over and over again. It's so cyclical, retread, regurgitated. Mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden it seems like there's a definite, authentic desire
I don't know, implement. Terry. We just saw that. What did they tell her? You be quiet in New York. They told us, not that your dad was a veteran and dedicated his life to this country. Come on, man.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. You got to remember, this was a system that was built. And I'm not trying to say it wasn't built for us, but it wasn't built for us in a sense of it was created without us. How about that? Right. So when you're building anything, if you create your own industry, when people come into it, you either do your best to assimilate or you figure out how to get in and then work your own system, and it's just choices, man. Some people, if the Oscars, qualify us to be on that level when they decide to make their announcements, so be it. But that like many people have said, that shouldn't necessarily makes you credible. What's credible is your stories, what you do authentic to yourself, to what you believe in, and you just go. And if people love it, they love it. If this system likes it, they like it. If this system likes it, fine, whatever. But for us, we just do what we do. Like for us as a company, we believe in what we do. We do what we do. We make sure we own a lot of our content is owned by us. We believe in putting money into our own, like a lot of times we are consciously looking at African-American companies or people of color to put money into. When we look at homes, when we look at resources out there, we're thinking about these things. Because
I didn't get any money, Trey. I mean, Terry, did you get some money? I didn't get any.
Yeah. Well, at least like,
I guess for me and Trey, you're gonna be part of my KPI group, because Disney wrote off $500 million on Vice. $500 million.
Mm-hmm.
$500 million.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's just do a little math.
Mm-hmm.
I got you and 50 others. I say, Trey, I wrote off $500 million. I'm going to create a Hollywood fund because your show's in its second season. I'm going to give to your organization $5 million with a 2-year to 3-year time to return my money.
Mm-hmm.
Think you could do it, Trey?
Absolutely.
Okay. So our ask for money that they've blown, written off their books. See, I don't even want to go to, because if it's not about the money, I don't really want to have creative conversations when I'm having economic conversations, because creatives, they want to paint the wall. And businessmen, we just want to own the building. You paint the wall, whatever you want for today. We want to do that. I want to be able to collect the rent. That's it. So I get you, but I don't want us not to, even when they're saying they're giving hundreds of millions to Black companies, or we're going to do business with Black people. I'm like, who? I want to know exactly who that is. It's a nice, interesting number. And you're not saying invest in. See, I'm more concerned with that, because you have a guy that can get a second season, but he's not treated like Abrams. What's his name? The guy Abrams.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Steve Abrams.
Yeah. Well, but no. But I mean, it's like you're just saying, like all of the. But you know what? In the end of the day, I always say this: as you build, if we have to also as well, because I believe that there is that part to it too. But the more we have to empower ourselves among each other with the money of collectively that we have among each other as well. We among us have a lot of money too. We
No,
can't count. We can't count on them to
but
do
see,
that.
for me, I have a different issue with that though.
Mhm.
If you have a 5 or 7 or 9-year old and you're in middle America black,
Mhm.
that baby got to go to Disney.
I got you.
And if you and I are at home hanging out and we got your partner's 18-year-old daughter, your other friend's 21-year-old son, a couple other people, and we're going to watch movies, our choices are limited.
Mhm.
Right? Because the kids want to know, I'm either doing Netflix, I'm going to do
Right.
Apple. They're going to do if we have cable, we have 20 choices. If you're going to be on our cell phones, we have 20 choices. And so what I'm sharing with you is the system siphons. Even no matter if we opt in or not, we have to.
Right. I got you.
And so for me, when the
Mhm.
system doesn't have to invest in you,
Mhm.
but it can opt to extract from me,
Mhm.
that's a problem. I don't want it. Yes, my trillion's good, but you print money and debt and got a private market. It's kind of like they said, now why'd you get the PPP?
Mhm.
Roof Chris? Why did Roof Chris get the PPP, Terry?
Right. Right.
Right. Or the Los Angeles Lakers.
Or the Los Angeles. Yeah. Right.
But they worried about some tennis shoes that a brother got and called him a looter. But they done got off those looters. You know, and that was a push of a button loot.
Mhm.
And they knew they were getting the money.
Mhm.
And they were in front of everybody, in the front of the line. So it's not that I don't understand collective economics,
Mhm.
but if you have a system that doesn't even, after it loses on its bet, invest in us, then we hate ourselves not enough to stand up and say, hey, all of y'all, Black Hollywood deserves some reparations too, because you have not done look deals with 20 Black people. You have not had Black agents.
Mhm.
How many Black agents?
Mhm.
How many Black literary agents? How many Black casting directors?
Mhm.
I mean, so the KPIs are what we got to focus on, because I need to know if we're doing better.
Yeah.
I don't want to know everybody that's doing better in Hollywood is Black, because if I can name all of y'all, that's a problem.
Right. Right.
You know, if Issa Rae got the only person getting deals,
Mhm.
it ain't. I'm not anti Issa,
No, I know what you mean.
but I am like, okay, but let's see, how many movies did Apple, Netflix, all the major studios do? How many TV shows? And then what percentage of those were led by Black directors, Black writers?
Mhm.
And let's see the percentage. I want to see that
Well, that
percentage.
percentage is always going to be smaller in general. Just, people break those percentages down anyway. Like when you see how many directors are white males in Hollywood versus us, but there are more of us than more people know. Like there's a lot of Black directors that direct television shows. So it's not, it's not every, obviously it's a lot of TV shows, but there's more people that, most people think if you don't know the director's name then there must not be a person doing it.
But see, I don't want to say that there hasn't been progress.
Yeah.
But because I have friends.
Yeah.
I have Black friends. See, I have Black intelligent friends.
Right.
Trey, you're gonna be my friend one day. But I have Black intelligent friends.
Okay.
And when you're the president of the Black Bankers Association, and just so that for numbers, there are 5,500 banks, and only 20 banks are Black.
Right.
And so, and we've lost 40% of our home ownership number. We're behind now. So you can't pass wealth without passing real estate.
Right.
So when we sit back and we don't deal with numbers,
Yeah.
because KPI is the only way I can analyze now. I do want to know that number.
Right.
Because we can't judge progress on how many good brothers do I know.
Right.
I can't. That's like going to Morehouse. If I go to Morehouse, which I did, graduate, and I hang out in Detroit, which I do, I'm gonna know most of Morehouse brothers, or you're a phone call away.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be surprised that you own a business. I'm not gonna be surprised that you're an attorney.
Absolutely.
Detroit number 2, that you're a doctor or a dentist.
Right.
So I know most of my community.
Yeah.
But I want to know Hollywood's number of productions and see how many private bankers are doing deals and doing franchise deals with us.
Yeah.
What private bankers are changing their Black Lives Matter to Black Economics Matters and opening facilities, synthetic facilities for you for 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Off books, offshore. And the only way you do a deal, the only way you're able to draw down money is once you have a season.
Right.
That's what they get, Trey.
Yeah. Yeah.
They get, he's gonna direct the Star Wars in 2025. Cut him a check. He's gonna start now. You can make 1,000 mistakes, they can fire you, you still got the money.
Right. Right.
Oh, he got tired. We're gonna rewrite the script.
Right. he had a different creative direction to it. Yeah. Than what we wanted. Yeah.
Tell me about influence. I'm sure you've got this phenomenal picture. We appreciate you coming on. News report.
Well, no, Influence, which is interesting, talking about this. Influence is a show, it's a film that, we're working on turning it into a television show as well, but it's based on a book by Carl Weber, who many of you guys know too, one of the top publishers of African-American books in the country, but he turned this book into Influence is about a family of lawyers. Kind of put you in, there's a father and he has his daughter and sons who work with him, and they all handle high profile cases. In this particular case there's a lady who's accused of killing her husband, and it's like a whodunit, type of storyline to it. So Deborah Cox is our leading female who is potentially up for murder, and her husband is Anthony Hamilton. So we use, because in the story they are.
So you got singers. Did they sing in it?
Anthony Hamilton. Wow.
Anthony Hamilton. He didn't have a lot to say because he was murdered in the show. but he was really good though. And Deborah Cox was phenomenal.
He died real good, huh?
Oh my God, he actually died really good. But we made sure though.
Let me tell you, he was talking about Terry. Trey was sitting here thinking, I'm gonna put him in the movie. I'm gonna have him out of there by the first scene, like he did.
No. What's funny? When we read it, the script is based on a Grammy Award-winning artist who murders her husband, who's like a Grammy Award-winning singer, actor. He's like he's a hyphenate. And so that's why it makes it this a big, high profile case. So we figured, why don't we put some people in there that you really recognize to be these people, so to make it more authentic. And then Deborah came in. Obviously, Deborah has, she's been doing Broadway and all kind of stuff. And she came in and was phenomenal. She was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And she's such a likable person. It made you, when you watch it, you don't know, did she do it? Did she not do it? Oh man, just because of who
she has a level of innocence about her.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
She can fool you.
Yes.
Yes. Fool you. I mean,
so she carried it well. And we had a phenomenal cast. Obviously, just Roger Guinevere Smith plays the father of the law firm. It was we go down the list. We brought a lot of different faces in it. I directed it as well. Yes.
Who directed it?
I directed it.
Who directed it?
So I'm a director by at our company. Yes.
Who directed it?
I directed it.
I was kidding.
You directed it. I'm gonna have you come up and direct it.
Yeah. Trey. No, we're really proud of you, man, and what you're doing. I think the creativity, but KPIs in Hollywood are kind of critical to this discussion when we think about Apple and people talking and projected to spend billions. And we think about the shows that they're launching. I'm concerned. I mean, I'm concerned that we don't see that as an apartheid system. If we're not going to get, but I saw Mandela, friend of mine. You know, we served at Robbins together.
Oh, did you? Hey, I want to read that. I read a lot of his books. I'm gonna say, hey, man, I think I know who he was talking about now.
You know, I promise. You know, you look and think. I can't remember how long did he stay in prison, Terry?
I mean, he was in there for almost like 40 years, 20. I
mean, we're talking. It's funny. Here's where I'm going with this, because I'm a director myself. We're talking about staying in place in order not to die. And here's a man that stayed in place for 30, 40 years so we could all live later.
Yeah.
Are we missing something? I mean, when I thought about that, I'm like, he stayed in a cage.
Yeah.
And now we can't stay in homes with water, a little bit of food to save our lives, to save the life of our community. We can't Mandela it for a minute.
Right. 27 years.
27. We can't Mandela it. He stayed 27 years.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure they came to him and asked him, will you take a deal? Can we find you a big house? And we can't stay in place for 6 months and want to go out this weekend and spread corona or not wear a mask and know you visiting everybody that you can.
Yeah, it's disturbing to me. I've seen it again today. It's on CNN right down there in Atlanta, right there in downtown Los Angeles. Just thousands of people closely, in proximity to one another and not practicing social distancing. It's just disturbing to me. Especially in light of the news of the numbers spiking this past week in some states, record numbers. I don't understand. There's a cognitive dissonance.
I figured it out. I figured it out, Terry.
What did you figure out?
You got to remember, based on Terry and I talked to a Black epidemiologist. Shout out to Dr.
Stevens.
Dr. Stevens. She's a doctor epidemiologist. And she really pointed out that the spikes are from early openings. We hadn't even got to protest spikes. We really aren't at protest spikes. We're really just getting into 14 days. And all these people are traveling from city to city, and some of them unemployed. They got
give me a headache.
So we have this, what you're seeing, that's the beginning. They haven't even started to get sick or fly back to anybody to get sick, Terry. This is early opening, restaurant visits, sitting next to people. That's what this is. I mean, the people that they're talking about, Florida, hanging out, 16 people in a restaurant. That's the 16 people that they knew. Yeah. That they traced it to. Yeah. So Trey, how do you feel? Go ahead, Terry.
No. I was just, just adding on to your thought. I don't understand the cognitive dissonance. Where is the disconnect? And how hard is it, Mr. Haley, Trey? Yes. Is it to make a movie under these circumstances? Because you just talked about a studio that opened and had to close right back up. And what do you think about the infrastructure that your boy here in Atlanta, that massive studio he got, and the infrastructure that he's laid out in comparison? Because it seems like he got it figured out.
He does have it figured out. We're actually in the middle of a show, Family Business season 2.
Okay.
And we have our first 6 coming out July 2nd, but we still have 6 more to develop.
Hold on. That was 6. I'm supposed to be in track. Right when you said that, I could see myself.
This is the key. You gotta be a part of what we have to do to make this other 6 work. The unions and all these different things, SAG has made it where you have to present how you're going to protect their actors, and we also have to protect us as a crew and everybody as well. And
wait a minute. You're not going to have them sign a waiver like the president does?
There's all of that too, but the reality is a waiver is going to keep what happening. You're not going to still.
I was under duress.
Right. Like what happened?
They were going to keep me away from my livelihood.
No. Yeah, but we actually have to go through, and it is a little challenging. You have to tweak the scripts a little bit to make it fit into this world that we are in, because the reality is we may have to quarantine our own crew, or we may have to put people together and put our actors in our homes and what Mr. Perry is doing out there is the right way to do it. And he's going to get his product done because he has his own facility.
300 acres.
He can do what he wants, how he wants, and put it in people in a safe position. The power of owning land, the power of being able to not let anything stop you from being able to continue your journey. And so we also are putting ourselves in positions right now to acquire, do different things to put our actors safely out of harm's reach among each other, and our crew as well. So we out here, that is the challenge, is to keep everybody tight, as a tight-knit group, and everybody being accountable for each other.
Being sequestered?
And sequestered. I mean, we're really looking at these options. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That didn't sound like an offer chair for you and I. I mean, I didn't even feel like we were
going to bring Mr. Steed in, and he's going to come in.
Right.
We're going to sequester him with the rest of our actors too. So when he disappears for a couple of days.
Yeah.
The contract coming over today. Because I need to pack my bags.
Uh-huh.
I'm really feeling bad about not being in LA. I haven't been to LA in probably February. Last time I was in LA.
And you're going to have to sequester him at the W Hotel in Westwood.
Hey, man. That's what I'm saying. I don't know, man. We might have a nice house to put him up in with the rest of the cast, but that I can't. Hey, we don't know what's going to happen at the W Hotel, man. Once again, things are moving parts coming around. You're in hallways passing people.
Absolutely.
Elevators, all of that stuff. Look at that.
Air conditioning.
Air conditioning.
But the penthouse there is actually pretty cool.
Sweet.
Yeah. Because I've stayed there for months when I was. So
that's kind of where we're looking right now as far as, and I think all productions. I mean, it's how do you do this and protect everyone? Because, like you said, we had a major soap opera go into production. They thought they had everything lined up how to do it, and then 2 days later, or a day or two later, someone caught it on the set. They had to shut it down. Yeah,
and it's entities around the country. Several NFL players caught it.
Yeah,
the NBA is infighting, like going back and forth about their season. Some people want to go, some people don't. So you're right. It's just
they want to do the same thing. The NFL is Disney, as he just said. See, they put them over there. They want to keep them there. They want to keep everybody there. So what? Do you bring people's family over? What if somebody's pregnant? What if one of the players' wives are pregnant, or when their parents are ill and they need to go to the hospital? What do you do? How do they?
Well, they ain't got to worry about it if it's a hospital, because you can't really go in no hospital.
Well, you can't go in the hospital anyway. Yeah, exactly.
That's going to be a situation, and the baby being born is going to be a situation.
So this is all.
Mandela gave you the example. He said 27 years.
27 years.
Yeah. See.
27.
See how we learned something together? Now we got the number. You'll never forget it. 27 years.
27.
And we talking about we can't be patient for 6 months, a year to save your life. We are so impatient about our reality, even when it's threatened by death.
Yeah.
That's a horror picture.
Yeah, but there's two sets of circumstances here, realities here. There's those who have to go to work in order to survive, and then there are those who choose to go out to be part of the protest or to picnic with their colleagues and friends. So there's two different circumstances here. I understand the folks who got to go to the grocery store and stock the shelves to eat, but then the people who are out in the streets are just hanging out and not even protesting, just hanging out with friends at bars and on the beach.
It's worse, Terry, for the frontline people. All of a sudden, no longer are they going to get any hazard pay. I mean, it has to be the worst. I mean, just like what you're talking about, they're being treated horribly, and they're on the front line. Mm-hmm. I mean, anybody that works at a nursing home should get twice as much right now.
Mm.
True.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Really,
twice.
Yes.
Twice.
Even if you wash dishes.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
No, that's facts.
Yeah.
And yet people are oblivious, like Terry's talking about, just out.
Yeah. But I'm sorry, Mr. Head, I wanted you to continue. Were you finished describing the movie
no, I was just
with Anthony Hamilton? You know, you got a singer, but
that was that. But you know, I was just saying with the family, you were asking about how this is being affected.
Yeah.
Shooting and filming. I mean, it definitely is taking a toll on the industry, and we're very, very much trying to figure it out. I mean, you know, and each person is watching other people's productions to see the way things are working or not working. So everybody, it's just a new learning phase, man. It's just a new learning.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's
so now, what do you see me doing in the movie?
Well, dying. Anthony Hamilton.
You know, Terry, you can't bully me on Juneteenth. I mean,
can't do that.
I've turned down.
No. He said Anthony Hamilton, and you know, because he said he didn't have to do much, you know.
Well, yeah. No, Anthony. I remember Anthony read the script.
Remember Emmett Till and the whole idea when I was talking about a train coming and what we had seen and how it actually happened, and you know.
Yeah.
Amy and Karen are nothing but, you know, the same women that got Emmett Till killed. I mean, at that point, and it's that spirit that had come back.
I feel the same way. I've been saying that too as well. I said this reminds me of when I hear the stories of how such a change happened upon the image, because it was the image once again. It had been happening. We knew it's been happening even then. But that image, when that got published, and people couldn't, it was like no more. And there was a change, a shift that happened. And I feel like that's the same thing that happened in this situation, particularly seeing it. It's not like the man was shot this time.
No.
This time it was the ability to just like, a knee, 8 minutes, the time frame that it happened, people telling you, and he's sitting there with like as if this is something he's been doing almost every other day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He had such no.
Oh, he waiting for food delivery.
Right. Like no, seriously.
Can somebody bring me a nice libation, a beer? Can I get a table dance? And he's gonna expire, but y'all shouldn't expect anything more from me. I would just like for something to happen to somebody other than myself, but while I'm here, and I didn't want to be here, but I have the power to be here. So could somebody fetch me a beer? I mean, how do you ignore everybody saying to you that you're killing somebody?
And then that in itself just said you couldn't deny it. It was undeniable. No human with true heart could sit there and say, hey, someone can say, well, I heard somebody say something ignorant like, well, I mean, he did put himself in that situation. What do you mean he put himself here? Your kid went and stole a Snickers bar from the store, which kids are bad and they just have fun sometimes. Is it okay for a cop to do what he did to your child?
No. Cut off his hands.
Right. They wouldn't really do that with a child, but see, everybody wants to give an excuse for something like this.
Yes.
The reality is there was no excuse. There was no reason for this to happen other than this is why we're marching about this stuff. This is the protest, and this has to change. It has to change but it has to really change in the laws. I mean, this goes back into the Constitution. Things have to really get adjusted
See,
Well,
you won't be free till you have some money, Trey.
huh?
You won't be free till you have some
Got
money.
some money. Got to have that
No,
money. We got to change the laws.
At the end of the day, desperation and poverty feed. Desperation and poverty breed ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
Desperation in our community. I mean, we're proud of you. People trust you. They know you have vision. But I look at a young brother like you and say, but if he had 20 million right now to know that every year for 10 years, Apple, that he would be doing great, then that would make a difference in his vision.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he could have moments to pause and think so deeply that he could bring 2 or 3 Oscars. You know, you think about our brother Jordan Peele. How you like his work?
I like Jordan a lot. I like his work a lot.
What do you think he's bringing to the conversation that we hadn't seen?
That I don't know, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's not doing anything. Sometimes
No, I mean just on a creative level, not on.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I think now, I mean, creatively, I do think story-wise, I think he's bringing a lot of consciousness to things and flipping it so people can see it definitely a different way.
Yeah.
So I think that's
what I mean. I think he's, but just imagine if somebody walked up to him and said, "You got $500 million.
Mm-hmm.
You got $500 million. Can we get 50 movies for 10 million, or maybe,
right,
10 for 50 million? You think you can do that?"
Yeah.
How would you guys feel if you had 50 million for each of your movies?
I mean, obviously that would be incredible. And like you just said, what we would the ability to do with that 50 million would take it to another whole level.
Right. And so my point is, if our ask is minuscule,
mm-hmm.
we'll stay in a minuscule place, even when the data point shows us that they wrote off $500 million.
Mm-hmm.
The data point is still there.
Yeah.
And they're working to deflect from this economic data point.
Mm.
See, yes, but we're going to spend in content production. What's the number so we can have a KPI and understand just how much you, Jordan, all will get?
Mm-hmm.
Because you've gotten things in second season, you've produced, come in on time with your budgets. You deserve an opportunity that was denied to you last year because you didn't get the budget you ever wanted, the one you dreamed of. So our ask economically in this movement has to be bigger. Our brother Tyler is his own model, and we are so proud of him. Yeah. And we love all the others who have franchises, but we need 100 more because you denied 100 that couldn't do it for 100 years prior. No, we helped build all of that. We chauffeured your cars, we shined your shoes in Hollywood. We came out here and we did all the things that you allowed us to do. You took our real estate when we wanted to own resorts. That's fact. I've interviewed the woman that's done the resorts in California, and the fact that all of the resorts that Black people put in the 50s and the 60s were burned down in Huntington Beach. Those are facts. And it wasn't for any other reason other than the color of our skin. So, yes, we want KPIs on budgets in California, in Hollywood, in Silicon Valley, since they've gotten in that business as well. But very proud of Netflix, because at least they put out a number.
Yeah, can't they do both? Mr. Haley, I understand that you like to be autonomous and you like to be self-sustaining. We need to create our own. But is it also incumbent upon Hollywood to produce those KPIs that Mr. Steed is talking about in terms of,
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that. I mean, we got to, I think both are important. I think both.
Because, now collectively we're together. I mean, collectively, but I really asked him something, Terry, he didn't get to.
Yeah.
And that was how I started in the with him, that I was there, that Rolling Out was put in the film. So in the last 6 weeks, had either a magazine or there was a call, and I was on the Yes, that's good. Saying something that he had
Yep.
written, rolling out, you and me, Terry, said we can even zoom it. Like we could just zoom it and he would just write us in.
Oh yeah, I see what you're talking
Right.
about. Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
Terry, but he doesn't
Whole
realize
news piece.
Carl Weber may be watching this right now and may have be writing the scene as you're talking.
But I'm saying, Carl, because for me, then rolling out would really be, and see, that's progress for us because now we're integrated, Black-owned media.
Yep.
Now we're on the show.
Yep.
You can have a Zoom of something else, and we can say yes. This is off the record, and da 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 da.
Absolutely.
And you can bring.
I love the idea. Watch what you watch. Hey, be careful when I give that call to you, man. You better be ready. You got to be ready. I know you got all your makeup artists and hey, I know what Rolling Out can produce on your side over there. So just have them ready for you when we take that call.
It's not ready, bro. I will cut all the hair off. I will take a YouTube. I will go to Rolling Out and YouTube University and do my own makeup.
Okay.
Somebody need to touch me right now, brother.
Okay.
I will have them on the thing. They'll tell me how to do it. We'll get it right. We can start
Terry,
5, 8
this is being recorded live.
5 hours
Right.
early.
See, this is what this really is about. Speaking it into existence, making it come to pass. If nobody knows what you're willing to want to do, if a closed mouth don't get fed. Don't worry about this. This is done. I promise you.
I'm with it because I've stayed in place.
Mm-hmm.
I am staying in place, brother. I have not been out of my house other than to run 6 or 8 miles. So that's what's happening with me. I'm here.
Okay.
Having a ball. We're very, 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 very proud of you, Trey.
Well, we're thankful of your support, and we've always believed in your magazine. From
let me stop you because we're a brand now. So when you describe Rolling Out, because see,
Rolling Out as a brand, but I'm saying when it first started.
Oh man,
I remember Rolling Out when it first started, and how it's just where it's gone at this point.
21 years ago.
Absolutely, and it was always that was one of the things you go to get a lot of information from the industry, all the different things that you guys put out there. But now just to see, I remember coming to your facility and I was like, whoa, I mean, this is the real,
Which facility is that? Our new facility?
Well, the last one I went to, it was a couple of years ago, to about 2 or 3 years ago. And y'all had different stages. Y'all had different shows going on, being recorded. I mean, it was really impressive.
Well, you'd be really impressed in the next 3 years because we'll be up 10 stories by then.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And Atlanta's a great city. I mean, we really appreciate the home that we're in. Now, you have 2 shows coming.
Yes. So we have one is Family Business is out now, about to be out July 2nd.
Now, who stars in that?
Okay, so that starts, Ernie Hudson is the star of that, Valerie Pettiford. We have everybody.
Bring them back with you. We all got to Zoom, Terry, with them.
Okay.
So we can actually bring there. The other thing is we do. Have you been to our conference, our RIDE conference?
Never.
So my favorite director of all times. You know who that was? Black.
Who?
Black.
Like who? Who would it be? Who is it?
Who do you think it would be?
Your favorite director? I mean, I don't know. I don't know your style, man. Your flavor. I don't know.
Hot sauce on it.
I'm trying to think. Would it be your favorite director of all time?
Bill Duke. Lives in L.A.
Bill Duke.
No.
Okay.
That was Bill would be way too before Rolling Out. And I love what he does for the professional. This person was a culture changer and it wasn't Spike.
Okay.
R.I.P.
I mean, you got to give it to me. There's a couple of them out there. Well, I mean, I don't know which one.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood. Oh shit. Oh, excuse me. Okay, of course. I mean, well, now when you get into John Singleton, I mean, he's obviously a game changer.
Well, no, he was at RIDE.
Okay.
He came to our conference and taught a class in our executive director suite
Okay.
that evening. Probably one of the most moving sessions we had. Datari came last year.
Know Datari very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Datari is great. A lot of information. He'll load you up with some information. Yeah. He will. But no,
basically you're saying it's your turn.
Hey, I'm ready, man. I spoke at you now. I spoke at your alma mater, man, as well. And we did a session with some of your students and not only talked about the business, but actually did some stuff with them, going through their scripts. Had some of the actors, some local actors out there in Atlanta that are, working actors come on set. I mean, come to the school and actually read their scripts. Let them direct the scene with them, kind of like a reading. Give them some directions, see how it goes back, and you also saw how they perceive that script as well. So I'm definitely into all of that as well. So that's another.
Darren Henson came by.
Who's that?
Darren Henson.
Darren Henson's in the family business. He's one of the stars of the family business.
Yeah,
he's the son of Ernie Hudson and Valerie Pettiford. Darren Henson's. So we can definitely do a Zoom, man, with Rolling Out and the whole team. Meaning Tammy, Roman, we got a whole amazing cast this season. We
have something called Star Studio, and we can do it on give some promotion and allow people to kind of get an idea. I don't know if you ever see them on Variety.
Mm-hmm. I have.
They have those sessions, and so for us, as part of our RIDE, Rolling Out Innovation Digital Entertainment, it's the entertainment professional, which obviously you are. And then it's the cast, like you see on Variety. And then we'd invite our community to be able to go and listen as people read scripts that may have already happened, or even just kind of see what it's like to be in the room, or to even see you sit back and say, okay, well, this is the next season. This is what's getting ready to happen. I think that, we clearly could do something like that so that our community gets the insight and experience in real time, particularly in a pandemic.
Yeah.
Where, and I think we should probably host even after each or during each episode, kind of some watch parties on Zoom with each of the stars or one of the stars or even yourself to talk about what it was like and what that lens was like.
That would be awesome. Man, like I said, we have such a variety, a vast cast from like Christian Keys is on the show. One of you guys has been on a lot of your things as well. So, Christian is actually who introduced us to Carl Weber. That's actually our connection. But we've done a lot of films with Christian, like The Preacher's Son and stuff like that, those films like that. So, I mean, we got a cast list. We can bring it down, man, and we can maybe do 2 or 3 at a time, different episodes. And like Tretch is a big part of the season this season.
Are you serious?
Comes with the fire.
Well, we should interview Tretch tomorrow for a cover so we can get him there.
Tretch he is coming with the fire this season.
Really?
Yes. Brayley Evans.
Brayley is on our cover next week.
Oh, Brayley is on next week?
Yeah. She has a new song that I'm directing. I'm directing her new video for her music.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I am. She has a song, How You Feel, I Feel Real Good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She lives here.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So she's a part of the Brayley is a big piece of the season. She was on last season as well. So, I mean, we got a pretty, like I said, we'll send over some more information on the show and as far as the cast and all that, and you can kind of see it. And the trailer is out as well on BET Plus. So you can
which one? The Family Business?
Family Business, yeah.
And you were about to mention the other one?
No, well, and Influence is also so Influence and the Family Business are both coming out this July. The Influence already came out earlier this year, but it's premiering on regular BET, BET on July 18th. So everybody will be able to see it if you haven't seen it on BET Plus. And then BET Plus Family Business will premiere on BET Plus second season, July 2nd.
Okay, and you said influence is based upon what brother's book? Because I'm tired of
Carl
reading.
Weber.
Okay, Carl Weber, because I'm tired of reading about John Grisham. Get some.
Carl Weber also created the Family Business. So the Family Business and Influence are two of Carl Weber's. These are New York Times best-selling books. And Family Business is his largest one. That one actually still is a book that's still being put out. Has a huge following. Huge.
Cool.
Following.
Yeah, well, thanks for tipping me off because I'm a bibliophile. I devour books, and I'm tired of John Grisham.
Carl Weber, man, this brother has like 26 by himself, 26, 27 New York Times best-selling books.
You gotta be kidding me. Wow.
But
I'm on it.
His company is called Urban Books Publishing.
Okay.
And Urban Books Publishing is, I believe, one of the top African-American publishing companies in the country. I mean, a lot of the books that you see with our faces on it in Target and Walmart and all that stuff.
Yeah.
On the back, Carl, I'm upset that he's not been on our show.
Well, we got to get him on.
And literally, I've written 7 children's books.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You knew that.
Yeah, man. I definitely got to get Carl to come on, man. Look at that.
Little professor.
That's nice, man. Congratulations. Yeah, I'll definitely get Carl on here for you though, so we can make a lot of this stuff happen, brother.
Now I'm looking forward to it. I'm trying to figure out what we're gonna do and how we're gonna star in this, Terry.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be written into the script.
I'm excited for a lot of them. I'm even excited for Ernie Hudson because
Ernie is awesome.
Yeah, because it was just like I was really, even as a teenager, I was really ticked off watching him with an inconsequential role in Ghostbusters. I mean, it was just like, why did you even cast him in the movie? And then to see how he evolved into The Wire and just see the full range of him, I'm happy for people like that.
This is like his leading role. Like He is the man. He runs this show. He is L.C. Duncan is the man on Family Business. And when you see the trailer, you'll see what I'm saying. I mean, it's okay. He's powerful, man.
Yes,
the girl, really.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yes. She's great. She's great.
Yeah.
I mean, but we as a company, we put out a lot of content. We have another film on Netflix right now as well called Always a Bridesmaid. Yvette Nicole Brown wrote that one. And it's a great cast as well on that one as well. So
why haven't we brought the cast out?
Well, I mean,
on that one, it's on Netflix. We ought to have
Netflix. You should have known that was coming, Trey.
Every time, and we got this one, and I'm like Trey.
And you know what?
Every one of those in some way, photo shoot written in.
I agree.
Written in.
Well, hey man, this is why we're here right now. We can start it up. We ain't going nowhere.
Say that again.
Yeah, we ain't going nowhere.
Run, I'm not doing it. No, sir. Not interested. All right, so we'll follow up so we can make sure you tell Carl that I'm proud of him and that the name of my children's book company.
Well, no, what is it?
Toys. It's called Playful Genius.
Playful G's.
No, Playful Genius.
Playful Genius. Yes. Yeah. Playful Genius.
.co. Yeah.
I think I like that, and then I like the genius level to it, and I would love to read them too. Hey man, you talk to Carl, you might get you see where y'all can connect with that.
Yeah. I'm with it.
I'm serious.
Well, I was hoping you were.
I'm dead serious. I love it. Playful Genius.
Yeah, that's the name of we make toys, all that. King Volcano should be sitting right over there on the side, just chilling.
Right in here or on one of our sets.
Oh, and all the sets. I mean,
yes.
They should be like, wow, where did that come from? Oh, you just wrote him in, huh?
Yeah. I like it though. We're all about that. So
that's what's up. Like I said, Ernie Hudson is just like the male version of Viola Davis. It's just like, it's a little late, but better late than never.
Yeah, I mean, Ernie, he's on several shows now, and And like I said, this one, he's the lead of the show. This is he's the lead, and everything
He's the man.
surrounds. He's the man.
Yeah.
Him and his wife. And it's like the old structure of the families back in the day, you know, when you had 6 kids, and everything about what's called a family business, because everything that they do, everything is run within the family. They don't let things go too far out of the circle. And all the kids understand where they all lie within the space of the family structure. So that's one of the reasons we really love this storyline too, is people get a chance, as much as there's all the fun, the crime, the drama and all that stuff, but really you're teaching people about family and how to keep things strong within the family. You don't let things go too far out. And that family unit is really important, especially for us. We keep that family unit tight.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All of our shows, we always say, we like to win. Everything we do, our movies, you got to win. We don't lose.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And that brings
many movies do you have at Netflix now?
Right now we have only one right now we have on Netflix is the family. Always a Bridesmaid. But we've also had
is that a romantic comedy?
Romantic comedy, absolutely.
How'd I guess?
It's a romantic comedy. Always a Bridesmaid, never the bride. But it's got a great twist in it, and it flips the storyline, because actually the man is the more aggressive person in this situation, wanting this. And the woman who's the lead, played by Javicia Leslie, she is in that weird space. What typically you see the male often in, torn between work and business and personal, and what she's seen in her past, making her even question whether or not this is what she wants to do, if she even wants to be married, So sometimes people say they want to be something, do something, but their actions don't. You can always say, well, I'm always the bridesmaid. Well, you've always said you've never wanted to be married. Right. So your actions don't show, regardless if you say it or not. And then when somebody maybe comes into your life, maybe you don't even realize what it looks like, what that perfect match looks like for you, per se, when it's right in front of you. And so that's her journey in that story.
And who directed that?
There's a guy named Trey.
Terry, the director gets to pick who's going to be in the movie. I just want you to know he didn't pick us, Terry.
No, but now that's the big misconception. It's very much a collective choice of people together making it. Yvette, my business partner, Nakaya Brown Jones, who she's our CEO of our company too. We all connected to collectively choose. Yvette had a group of friends that she's worked with, people that like I said, the cast is phenomenal. And between us, Yvette, and ourselves, what's funny is Javicia, who's the lead, is also in the family business. And when we were discussing making this, she said, we were talking about who to play the lead of this. And we were like, well, why not Javicia? She's perfect. And Javicia is coming up. She was, she's been doing her thing, and we surrounded the cast with a lot of, cameo appearances within it. Yvette is actually one of the stars in the movie as well. So it's a great story. Yeah. Jordan Calloway, who's on Black Lightning, he's the love interest. This is his first male, adult leading male role, where he actually gets to play like a man instead of like a kid.
So Terry, he's going to bring them to rolling out this week, so we can actually talk about them, and
there you go.
Given that they can zoom in and we can talk about this, we can kind of get a whole program going. So what's it like doing business with Netflix? How was that experience?
It's been great. For us, because we own the rights to our content, a lot of it we do are licensing deals, so that we can put it in multiple spaces. So it premiered on BET first, and then after a certain time, then Netflix took it for a couple. So it goes back and forth. And that's kind of like how we play with all of this. We have relationship with Netflix. We have been talking to them about content and creating things. But when we do it, we do want it to be something that is empowering, that is something that we feel as a company, the imaging that we want to put out and the story that we want to tell with them. So there's definitely discussions with them, but they are a very conscious company, I would say. more than a lot of other ones. Just in general, I mean, you look at the content that they just put out. They're going against the grain. They're taking stuff like Stranger Things. Stranger Things went around for everyone. All the networks, they passed. Oh, what is this? They don't even know what this thing was. Netflix takes it. Now they're beating everybody at the Emmys. You know what I'm saying? Like, but this is just in general, they go against the grain. They are open to collaborations. They are open to putting out different types of stories. So I actually like their philosophy a lot. You know, BET has been an amazing home for us, and they really have believed in us as a company. And definitely have been.
So this is our collaboration negotiation. Is that what this
Yes,
is?
absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
And
So
the good
that's
thing,
kind of like what we've been doing, and collaboration is the key for us. We don't believe in being on an island by ourselves. We want to connect with multiple people so that we all can win together. So however we can make Rolling Out win with us, and we can win with Rolling Out, that's the goal. If we can do it together. If we have a lot of artists that we work with, a lot of actors who have stories that they want to tell that they have not had a chance to tell. They don't want to be in a box. Well, here's a place that we may be able to be in a situation we can help them tell these stories and get them out that box. We have a lot of stories ready to go, man. There's some real interesting things coming up that I feel like are going to be really, really empowering images for us as a unit. And we have a lot of people that back us and believe in us as a company too, that help us make sure that we walk into the door empowered as well. You know, and we're not just only asking for a hand. We're bringing things to the table as well.
yeah, and it's interesting because Netflix is kind of serendipitous, because now that the situation is happening, Netflix is already a progressive company.
They're already an aggressive company.
So they don't have to act like the NFL, like they just got it. Oh my God, racism has happened. Colin Kaepernick was wronged. No, they seem authentic, and people believe them. They seem plausible when they come to you and say, hey, we got you. You're empowered. You can do this. So Netflix has a leg up on the rest of the companies out there on the landscape, because they were already doing what we were trying to get done.
Right.
So that, so it
think
makes
about it. As soon as Obama steps out of office, he has to deal with Netflix.
Yeah, 10 million.
Yeah. I mean, he's ready to go. They're ready. Let's do this. They didn't wait around and see, it's moving. Things are happening. I'm just saying that they are conscious. I believe that they're a company.
Yes. Yes. And another thing I'm seeing happening, like you were talking about earlier with Mr. Jordan Peele, and then they discovered that black horror flicks do work. Oh, I've never seen one before. Wow, I didn't know that could happen. Yeah. And we were talking about to a black casting director this morning. And so, just like with Robbie Reed out there in LA, the complexion of a film just changes when you have, black people in positions of influence and power. The complexion and the way that they're portrayed on screen just changes, So it's a good era to be in this particular riding this wave, this upper trajectory of blacks, directors, producers. It's wonderful to see. And so I'm happy for you that you are in this space right now.
Thank you, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, we're proud of you. We want to thank you for spending time. I look forward to receiving my lines. My email address. Write me in, Carl. Don't be afraid. Write me in.
All right. There's going to be we're going to have to incorporate a little bit more digital technology now due to things anyway. So, you may be getting a call from LC Duncan. Yeah. Just prepared.
And we don't want them kind of roles where, it's Jason chasing us and we fall down.
No.
You can't get up. The house is haunted, but we go in anyway. No, we don't want them kind of roles.
No. We ain't going to do that one.
Okay.
Well, look, I'm ready to get it. I love I just shot a movie with on Zoom recently. So I loved it. The lines are already on the screen. I really do believe we should quickly shoot a film on Zoom right quick as a movie.
I mean, I think that could be pretty easy to do. Yeah. We'll be talking.
All right. Appreciate you, Trey. Very proud of you.
Yes, sir.
Continue on. We look forward to connecting up with you next week. Talk to you real soon.
Talk to you really soon. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Terry, my man.
Hey, what's
Got
happening?
planned for the weekend?
Um,
Going to have barbecue.
no. I mean, I've eschewed barbecue and pork for the most part. Just big, I'm just maintaining. I mean, I'm just gonna stay sequestered. And like I said on our morning show, several weeks ago, just the difference between people they got to keep the eye on the prize. Can you stay in place for 6 months if the payoff was that you can live another 30, 40 years? I could do that. I could do 6 months if you give me another 30 years on this earth. And so that's what I'm trying to keep my eye on. It's hard. It is hard because we're human beings. We're meant to be in contact with one another. But I'm not ready yet. And then when I see the spikes in cases, it just it increases my resolve to just continue to do what I'm doing.
Did we shout out Shirley?
Oh, Shirley. It's Shirley on the night show now. She's on the day show. She's on the night show. Shirley is posted up strong. Shirley, we got, shout out to you, Shirley. Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Happy weekend, Shirley. Happy Juneteenth.
Yeah, definitely. There were some other people.
Everybody out there, yeah.
Yeah, there was other people that we didn't get a chance to. Jacqueline Manley Jacqueline Manley Mack actually said you should have kept the T-shirt on. I mean, she said, nice T-shirt. I don't know why you took it off. So yeah, she liked the shirt.
Jacqueline, I had actually run in the T-shirt, and I was actually had to come out of that because I was starting to itch. So.
Oh, okay. All right, it's Manley Mac. We can let Mr. Steve slide on that. But that was a nice T-shirt. Colin Kaepernick.
We'll wear it again.
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow after we wash it for sure. Anything else?
No, I don't see anything else. But we thank you for everyone who joined us this evening.
Hope you enjoyed that. We've got strong Hollywood connections here. For all of us, this is Rolling Out News Report. Terry Shropshire, Munson Steed. We love you guys and have a safe weekend. Peace.
Yes. Peace.
Peace, Terry.
Peace.